Welcome back on my YouTube channel AML Study by Sohail. And today our topic is how can money launderers use prepaid card, mobile payments, and internet-based payment services. And what is the new payment method is which money launderer use for their money laundering. So we will start. And today, learning objects are prepaid card, mobile payment, and internet-based payment services, virtual currencies. So we will discuss in our details how can it will affect the financial institutions and as well it's a challenging job for regulatory body. How can they countermeasure make a countermeasures for these products? So let's start with the prepaid cards. In October 26, FATA published a report that examined the ways in which money can be laundered through the exploitations of new payment methods such as prepaid card, internet payments, mobile payments, and digital precious metals. So there are different type of prepaid cards nowadays circular in the market. If you can go, you can buy different type of services with the help of these cards. There is major two type of cards. One is open loop card. Second one is a closed loop card. Open loop card is called like which is a prepaid card. Many of which are network branded by American Express like Visa or Mastercards can be purchased and loaded without any money by one person and used like regular debt credits by the same person or another person to make a purchase or ATM withdrawal anywhere in the world. So like anyone can use for against any product. So this is open loop. So the closed loop card is which is like a make for a specific card. Like if we talk about I am living in UAE. Here is one null card which is issued by RTA from Dubai. So they just used for a specific purpose. If I want to travel through their services, I can use that null card. That is closed loop example, which is used for specific purpose, for specific product. So these type of card called closed loop card. So next there is potential risk factor with the prepaid card. Uh, first one is anonymous card holder. Like anyone can hold the card and anyone can use that card. In the back end, there is not like a audit trail, not making any history. Who will use these cards? Who will withdraw the money, who like deposit the money against this card. So these type of anonymous card holder can be used another fund. Yes, anyone can fund. I just pass the instruction to my any partner which he get the money from illegal resource. Anonymous access to fund. Yes, I already given you a very good example, which is anyone can access that fund. Like anyone who is the holding that time that card, he she can withdraw the money and he have access to fund to use for any purpose for any against any product, any service, either whatever he want he can do. So high value limits and no limit on the number of card individual can acquire. Yes, look, if there is a different type of prepaid card, you can buy a prepaid card in numbers. Even there is no limit of number. Like you can buy card 1000 as well. There is no limit is of value. So there this is also as per FATF, this is as a risk because even there is no limit for cards. You can, if you have a like in millions like illegal money, you can buy card whatever because there is no limit, there is no check and balance. So in this way this is also create a risk and it will also vulnerable for global access to cash through ATM. Yes, if I have ATM card like Visa, I can go anywhere in the world and I can withdraw the cash. So in this way, like if there is any next step is offshore company. If there is any offshore jurisdictions, you deposit, you just give an instruction to your partner, like your if you want to receive any money from any drug dealer, money launderer, anyone, you just pass the instruction and he will just deposit from different jurisdiction in your account, and you can easily like withdraw the money. So this one I as well vulnerable for it, so it's also increase the risk. So next, offshore card issuer that may not observe law in all jurisdiction. Yes, this is also I think so big risk factor, because offshore offshore not follow the proper rules, which is like international bodies create the rule against substitute for bulk cash smuggling. Yes, if you want to smuggle cash, maybe some custom people, some airport people, some any other person, security person catch you. But if you have cards in bulk, nobody will ask why you are carrying card. So instead of cash, you can smuggle cards, because everywhere it will accept. So these products also use again for money laundering. So no, here is new payment methods, FATF guidance for a risk-based approach, prepaid card, mobile payments, and internet-based payment services in 2013. It identified numerous inherent risk with what it called new payment methods, such as this is a report is came in 2013. So FATF said there is a like such risks which is during you doing these transactions, you face these type of risks, like non face to face relationship and anonymity, as well as explained with the example. Because through internet there is no face to face interactions. Like if any person came into our financial institution, and before transaction we just there is a face geographic reach, you can like through internet you can process your transaction anywhere in the world. Like if I want to process a transaction from sitting in UAE, but I want to send a money in anywhere in the world within one click, so it is also vulnerable. Methods of funding, like there is different methods of funding used. Someone is deposit in cash, someone is maybe using check, some internet transfers, someone as well in shape of cryptocurrency. And in next slide I will explain what is the virtual currency and cryptocurrencies. So access of cash, of course, previous slide I explained access of funds. So this is also FATF explained, this is also vulnerable for it. Segmentations of services, this one also risk for new payment methods. So how can we countermeasure these risks? So the guidance also started that the risk of money laundering and terrorist financing in new payment methods may be mitigated when the following are considered. We are just mitigate, not like we can mitigate 100%, but we are at least we are put some controls, reduce the money laundering, reduce the terrorist financing. We are not reached in 0%, because as well there is a risk. So or we can reduce that risk, but not it will be zero. So how can we reduce? First one is customer due diligence. We should put a strong mechanism before transaction. There should be proper CDD, as well if there is required ADD should be there. So customer due diligence is a major part of any transaction, and this one compliance people is very familiar with these terms. So this is the basic things to do before transaction. Actually we know the customer, we should know the customer transaction, we should know the purpose of the payment, we should know the source of funds, and we should know as well the legal purpose of these things. So if we did a proper CDD, it will like you can say reduce risk more than 50%. So rest of the thing, if you do, you can minimize risk. So loading value and geographical limit, as well as we need if we want to mitigate some risk, we need to put some loading value and geographic limit. Like we supposed to be like regular battery is supposed to be do in this way. They need to put some conditions. Certain card will be used in these jurisdictions, excluding these jurisdictions, it will be not a work. So in this way we can mitigate. As well, we put some mitigation on loading values, and there is certain they need to put a certain value. Exceeding that limit, it should be not accepted. So source of funding, as well, I explained, if there is a transaction, internet transaction, the like who is giving authority to pay these payments, that should be put in mechanism. They will ask the source of fund, and as well there is a verification of the source of fund, and then record keeping, transaction monitoring and reporting should be there. Because if you found any suspicious thing, you can pull out that things. If you record keep, then you can pull, you are able to pull that transaction. So you should be like keep in a record, and during you audit you can pull out these transactions, transaction monitoring and reporting. As well, if you found anything like transaction monitoring and reporting also. Now, virtual currency. A virtual currency or digital currency. Virtual currency is a medium of exchange that operate in a digital space. It can be converted into either a fiat or a government issued currency, or it can be substitute for real currency. There are two type of virtual currencies: centralized virtual currency and decentralized virtual currency. Centralized virtual currency, that is formally the Liberty Reserve, have a centralized repository and a single administrator. But if we are talking about a decentralized, like Bitcoin, virtual currency have no repositories or administrator, but work as peer-to-peer media of exchange without any need for an intermediaries. Virtual currency allow value to be able to be transmitted anywhere in the world without the requirement of a centralized bank or institutional authority. That is the like a very major sentence. So it is, if without the requirement of a centralized bank or institution authority, how can you once you want you will, how can you get the audit trail? So it's a challenging job to monitor these type of currencies, but nowadays it is familiar, and everyone is going to like shift their things in virtual currencies, like different virtual currency in market, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ripple, and different others. So nowadays this job is very challenging jobs for financial institutions. How can put a countermeasures against these things, as well as for regulatory bodies need to worry about it, and how can they counter these risks. So they are thinking, hope they will get put some more mitigations. That's why they will reach on a maximum level of risk controls. So virtual currency financial criminal enforcement network issued interpretative guidance on a virtual currency that categorize the participant within the ecosystem into three segments. During a virtual currency transaction, there is always involve three parties. There is three parties. One is user, second one is exchanger, third one is administrator. So okay, we will explain one by one. A user is a person that is obtain a virtual currency to purchase goods and services, and an exchanger is a person engaged as a business in the exchange of virtual currency for a real currency. Funds are either virtual currency. A user, most of the time is user should be natural person, but exchanger may be legal person, maybe natural person, but user always a natural person. An administrator is a person engaged as a business is issuing a virtual currency and who has the authority to redeem such virtual currencies. Of course, there is should be any administrator who is the monitor these things, who is the back end perform the transaction as per the user instructions. So this is the one of the famous case study. If you want to learn more about this, you can go through this case study and you will get more idea about the virtual currency. Viewers, in future I am going to upload very interesting videos regarding to FATF. Then there is Basel Committee, then you work by group, IMF, World Bank, how can compliance professionals work, what is the compliance program, what is the sanctions, how can it be implemented, how can make a strong KYC, CDD, EDD, and how can regulatory, what is the expectation regulatory from your financial institutions. So if you want to learn about these things, stay with me and subscribe this channel. Thank you very much. We'll come back with a new video soon. Thank you.